On my 30th birthday, Ethan arranged to meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau, explicitly instructing me to wear a wedding dress and bring my documents, promising a grand birthday gift. However, upon my arrival at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, he smirked to his cronies behind him. See, she actually came in a wedding dress with her ID. A bet's a bet, each of you owes me 100. Then, turning to me with a raised eyebrow, he said, Melissa, it was just a prank, surely you didn't take it seriously? Noticing my silence, he added with a grin, if you're that desperate to marry, just go inside and grab any man to get a certificate. The onlookers erupted in mocking laughter, jeering that I was Ethan's most devoted lapdog and spare, destined to remain unmarried or never wed another. Yet, as I emerged from the Civil Affairs Bureau arm in arm with my new husband, clutching a fresh marriage certificate, Ethan stood frozen, his face drained of color. As I witnessed Ethan collecting money from his friends one by one, it dawned on me that today was yet another wager designed to humiliate me. Those who lost the bet rolled their eyes at me after their taunts, saying, Melissa, do you realize how much I lost because of you? Please, get some sense. I've told you 100 times, Ethan is beyond your reach. Did you really think he'd marry you? You've been fooled 8 times, if not 10, and still fall for it. You're hopelessly naive. I clenched my lower lip, my nails nearly piercing my flesh. After pocketing the money, Ethan approached me in a few strides, his tone feigning concern. What's wrong, Melissa? Are you unhappy? He turned to his friends, exclaiming, Hey, you jerks, it's Melissa's birthday today, how can you bully the birthday girl? Just as I thought he might have a shred of conscience, Ethan pulled a bill from his pocket and handed it to me, grinning, Thanks to you, Melissa, I made $2,000, here's $10 to buy a little cake, my birthday gift to you. Laughter erupted once more. Ethan, you're too kind, watch out, Melissa might fall hopelessly in love with you. Didn't you see her come in a wedding dress? She's a toad dreaming of swan meat, obsessed with marrying Ethan. In the past, I would have broken down in tears by now, pleading with Ethan to take pity and stop hurting me, but this time, I took the $10 from his hand. Thank you, it just so happens the registration fee is $9, and I didn't bring cash, so consider this your contribution. Ethan paused, then burst out laughing. Melissa, did you leave your brain at home? Still dreaming of marrying me? Can't you see I was toying with you? I've seen low, but never as low as you. He frowned in disgust, shaking his head as if I were something repulsive. Despite my mental preparation, his words still pierced my heart like arrows, leaving it riddled with wounds. I had learned of Ethan's bet involving me the previous day, after receiving an unusually tender call from him. Melissa, meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 9 tomorrow morning, I want to give you a big birthday gift. Oh, and dress up nicely, wear your new wedding dress, and bring your household registration and ID. Don't miss it. After hanging up, my heart pounded. I had just posted on Facebook about trying on and buying a wedding dress. Could it be that this prompted him to marry me? Yet soon after, someone sent me a video in which Ethan showed my wedding dress post to others, asking, What's Melissa up to? A bystander quickly chimed in, She's desperate to marry. A nearly 30-year-old woman, impatient, venting through this. I bet Melissa's jealous of Ethan's new girlfriend and posted this for attention. Ethan's new girlfriend, Sophia, was a refined young lady from a scholarly family, cherished by him like the apple of his eye. Ethan shook his head, saying, Being pestered by such a woman is a hassle. Here's a bet, one call from me, and tomorrow she'll obediently show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau in that wedding dress. Want to see a clown in a gown? Someone laughed. What if you lose, Ethan? Make Sophia dance for us if you do. Before the laughter subsided, Ethan punched him, his face darkening ominously. Want to die? Who are you to utter Sophia's name? Sophia was his lifeblood, untouchable even in jest, while I was merely a clown for his bets, expendable and degraded. Watching the video, my heart throbbed with pain. Tears fell uncontrollably, splattering the phone screen and blurring his smug, laughing face in the video. I wiped them away, staring intently at Ethan's image. This was the childhood friend I had loved for 8 years, who knew better than anyone how much I adored him and thus how to wound me most deeply. He had forgotten the promises of our youth. Melissa, if you're still single at 30, we'll be together. Today, I turned 30 and was to wed, but I didn't tell Ethan it wasn't to him. The ankle-length wedding dress I chose was selected with my fiancé. Lifting its hem, I stepped past Ethan toward the Civil Affairs Bureau. He seized my wrist, sneering, "Stop pretending, Melissa, who's this act for? If you're so eager to marry, grab any man inside for a certificate, it'd help me by keeping you from bothering me." Gazing at his face, I lacked the strength for anger or explanation, feeling only disappointment and sorrow. The Ethan who once chased someone 800 meters to force an apology for a slight against me was gone forever. I shook my head, attempting to withdraw my hand, when Sophia suddenly appeared, shouting, "Ethan!" Ethan instinctively pulled back his hand, and to underscore his fidelity, he meticulously wiped it with an alcohol wipe from his bag, as if I were something utterly filthy. Sophia inquired, "Ethan, why are you here?" Then, to me, "Melissa, are you getting married today? You're even wearing a wedding dress." Ethan glanced around, too cowardly to admit he'd orchestrated a bet about me. In his panic, he yanked one of his cronies, Tony, to my side, laughing, "Sophia, you're so clever, you guessed it. Today's Melissa and Tony's wedding day. We're all here to cheer them on and offer blessings." As his words landed, his cronies chimed in unison, "Yes, yes, sister-in-law, it's Melissa and Tony's big day, we're celebrating for them." Beside me stood Tony, shorter than I, grinning foolishly, filling me with revulsion. Sensing Sophia's doubt, Ethan shoved Tony and me inside, urging, "Hurry, hurry, get the certificate, Sophia's watching." I stumbled from his push, and Tony boldly grabbed my hand, whispering, "Melissa, Ethan will never want you. I think you're decent looking with a good figure, we could make do together." Unable to restrain myself, I flung off his greasy hand and retched against the wall. Ethan instantly quipped, "Oh, Melissa, are you pregnant? So it's a shotgun wedding, well done, Tony." Sophia, beaming, congratulated me, "Melissa, I used to worry about your love life, but I didn't expect you'd have a husband and child so soon, congratulations." But I gazed coldly at Ethan, still guffawing exaggeratedly, and said flatly, "Yes, I am getting married, but not to you wretched lot. My fiancé is inside getting a number, save your congratulations for later." Ethan's smile froze. At that moment, my phone rang. I answered, murmuring affirmations, "Second floor? I'll go into queue first?" "All right." Turning to the rigid Ethan, I said, "I'm wearing a wedding dress because my fiancé hired a photographer to capture our registration day. This light veil is the most practical of my 7 wedding dresses, ideal for going out. Since you're all here, I'll give you the invitations. My wedding is on the 10th of next month, you're welcome to attend." I handed out red invitations from my bag, but Ethan refused his. Those who took the invitations whispered, "Wanley Hotel, the city's finest? Did Melissa marry a second-generation tycoon? So wealthy." Ethan smirked, his eyes brimming with scorn. "Melissa, I said you love drama, and you've gone full theater, wedding invitations, a Wanley banquet? These petty tricks are laughable to me." He flicked the invitation aside with 2 fingers. Sophia glanced at it and sighed, "Sorry, Melissa, I'm with Ethan on this. The invitation lacks photos of the bride and groom, it doesn't seem genuine." There were no photos because we hadn't yet taken them. Sophia took my hand, earnestly advising, "Actually, I've always known about your feelings for Ethan." Ethan grew anxious. "Sophia, let me explain." She shook her head, "No need, Ethan, I know you two are childhood friends, raised together, your bond is naturally deep." Turning to me, she said, "Melissa, as a woman, I understand your heart, but love cannot be forced. Ethan has said he sees you only as a sister. As half a sister to you now, heed my advice, stop these foolish acts. The more you do, the more you'll be ridiculed. The crowd behind echoed, Sister Sophia is so wise and fair. Worthy of her noble upbringing, kind and good, still counseling Melissa, a rare woman indeed. Sophia gazed at me with pitying charity. Come, Melissa, let me help you change out of that wedding dress. It was the same pattern. Whenever Ethan toyed with or degraded me, Sophia stepped in as the saint, reinforcing Ethan's belief in her beauty and kindness, while my perceived baseness highlighted her virtue. As I prepared to refuse, Sophia spotted the label on my dress, seizing it and reading aloud, a Bailage wedding dress, this season's latest? Melissa, I pity you, this dress is rented, isn't it? The tag's still on, you really didn't need to go this far. Ethan's expression turned more mocking. He pulled Sophia into his arms, kissed her hair, and cooed, Sophia, you're too good, why waste words on a shameless wretch like Melissa? Sophia persisted in her act, clutching Ethan's shirt and saying gravely, Ethan, I believe Melissa didn't mean it, just a girl's vanity, correctable with time. My face flushed, fists clenched, as I explained, my fiancé bought this dress yesterday, I forgot to remove the tag, that's all. Enough, lie enough, and it sounds true, Ethan said carelessly, tilting his chin at me, Melissa, if you really have a fiancé, call him out for us to see. His posse echoed, yeah, let's see if it's a mule or a horse, bring him out. Introduce us to this tycoon who can afford designer clothes and book Wanley. Aren't you marrying today? Where's the groom? I stood at the bureau's entrance as passers-by gawked. Tony, whom I'd shoved away, pointed and shouted, look, everyone, this woman wanted to be a mistress, and after being exposed, she claims she's here to marry today. Let's see where her groom is. The crowd paused, pointing and whispering, some snapping photos and videos of me with their phones. The early autumn breeze chilled me, prompting me to hug myself tightly. Sophia rubbed her arms, and Ethan promptly draped his jacket over her. He barked discontentedly, Melissa, call your dear husband to hurry, if my Sophia catches a cold, I'll hold you accountable. I bowed my head, cold from heart to body, uncertain when my fiancé would arrive, given we'd met only once. As time dragged on with no one appearing, a crowd gathered, their cameras nearly pressed to my face. I backed away, dodging them, until I bumped into someone, halting with, sorry, Before I finished, strong hands rested on my shoulders, I'm the one who should apologize. Sorry, wife, traffic delayed me. The deep, melodious voice sounded behind my ear, sending my heart racing. I hesitated to turn around. Sensing my rigidity, the man behind me chuckled, patted my shoulder, and stepped forward, shielding me. Everyone, today is my wedding day with my new wife, please enjoy our wedding candies, there's enough for all, he said, as his assistant fetched a large bag from the car. Passers-by opened the bags, finding expensive sweets, exclaiming, wow, these candies cost a fortune. The groom so distinguished, the bride so graceful, a perfect match. She didn't lie, she's here to marry, who called her a mistress? The crowd shed their earlier glee, seeking the instigator. Tony fled, drawing attention, it's him. On their joyous day, he called her a mistress, misleading us and nearly causing a scene. Henry, my groom-to-be, nodded to his assistant, who drove off to pursue the escaping Tony. Someone in the crowd murmured, the groom looks familiar. I remember, he's the CEO of He Group, featured on a finance magazine cover. I, too, was astonished. Henry was a blind date I'd met once, finding no major issues, we casually set the engagement. I hadn't realized he was a renowned entrepreneur. The onlookers deleted their earlier videos of me and left with smiles, wishing, happy wedding, a lifetime of harmony. With the matter settled, Henry took my hand, let's go, wife, inside to register. I followed dazedly, glancing back instinctively. Ethan stood there, bewildered and faintly furious. I couldn't fathom what he had to be angry about. On the second floor, I presented our documents. When the staff handed us the red certificate, I felt lightheaded. It seemed I was truly married, not to Ethan, whom I'd chased for years, but to a stranger I'd met once. "Come, bride and groom, smile for the camera," the photographer said, capturing us post-registration. Noticing my daze, Henry told the photographer, "One photo for my family will do, let's call it a day." I excused myself to the restroom, seeking solitude, but overheard Ethan and his group from the second-floor window. Ethan smoked, encircled by his mates. Amid the haze, one asked, "Melissa wouldn't actually marry, would she?" Another retorted, "That guy's surely an actor she hired. He looks decent, but with Melissa's status, how could she snag someone like that?" Ethan stubbed out his cigarette, concluding, "It's an act." He chuckled, "Another of Melissa's tricks, over the years, what hasn't she tried to win me?" The group agreed, "Exactly, she loves Ethan so much, how could she settle for another? She'd rather stay single forever, clinging to him like gum." Ethan's dark expression softened. "When Melissa comes down, we'll expose her, see if she dares trick us again." He wiped his hands with a tissue and sprayed breath freshener, flustered, "Quick, check if I smell of smoke, Sophia can't stand it, I mustn't upset her." I recalled college days when Ethan first smoked. Choking himself, he shoved the cigarette in my mouth, clapping and laughing as I coughed my lungs out. With countless cigarette brands and his picky taste, he bought dozens for me to test one by one. He said, "Don't you claim to know me well? Smoke them all and pick my favorite. Get it right, and I'll accept your confession and try being with you." Elated, I spent the night testing, desperate to find his preferred flavor. I adored Ethan, confessing countless times since childhood, but he saw me as a pal, this rare chance I had to seize. That night, smoke stung my eyes and choked me. The next day, nicotine overdose landed me in the hospital with emphysema. Yet, discharged and eager with my chosen cigarette, he said, "I'm after Sophia, the literature department's belle. She dislikes smokers, so I'll quit." "Melissa, you've got friends in the literature department, right? Get me Sophia's contact." He slung an arm around me, grinning, "We're lifelong buddies, you won't refuse this little favor, will you?" Stunned, I glimpsed my smoke-stained fingers, but ultimately agreed with a bitter smile. They were right, I once couldn't live without Ethan, planning to wait until he wed and had kids before settling for someone else, but now, exhausted and weary, I refused to wait, I'd marry first. Before descending and leaving the bureau, Henry meticulously adjusted my wedding dress, smoothing the disheveled veil and wiping the stepped-on hem with a tissue. "Sorry, I so wanted to see you in a wedding dress that I asked you to wear it today for our registration. Perhaps I should have ignored your refusal and picked you up myself." Henry's deep, pleasant voice and his words made me blush uncontrollably. He spoke as if we'd known each other before, though we'd met just once. Avoiding his gaze, I murmured, "It's fine, I insisted on taking a taxi, it's not your fault." Henry chuckled, extending his hand, then, "May I hold your hand now?" Knowing Ethan and his drama-hungry friends awaited below, I firmly placed my hand in his, though I fretted about potential embarrassment. "Henry, if you hear harsh words soon, don't take them to heart," I said. He squeezed my hand, teasing, "Still my name, so formal? Call me husband, darling." Blushing deeply, I mumbled a mosquito-like husband. Henry patted my head, leaning close to whisper, "Wife, let's go, I won't mind any noise." Hand in hand at the bureau's entrance, passers-by mistook us for wedding models, snapping photos. Amid praises of our perfect match, I spotted Ethan nearby, his frozen face losing its smile bit by bit. Wishing to avoid him, I tugged Henry's hand to detour, but Ethan stepped forward, blocking our path. He beckoned me like a pet dog. "Melissa, had enough fun? Come here, I'll take you to celebrate your birthday." He knew it was my birthday yet chose this moment to toy with me. Before I could refuse, Henry spoke, "You're my wife's friend, right?" "Thanks, but I've planned her birthday banquet, she can't go with you. If you'd like to celebrate, bring a gift to Wanley Hotel, Hall 1. I tensed, fearing Henry's boasts might unravel embarrassingly. Ethan read my strain, exhaling with visible relief. "Melissa, this actor you got is convincing. but your acting's awful, you slipped up fast. Stop pretending, I know you've loved me hopelessly for years, you wouldn't marry another. Henry's demeanor shifted from polite distance to stern gravity. I thought you were Melissa's friend, but you're unworthy. We're legally married as of today. If you slander our bond again, I'll have my lawyer sue. Henry flashed our red marriage certificate, but Ethan crossed his arms, rolling his eyes. Quite the act, even a fake certificate. To convince me, let's check. Wanley Hotel, Hall 1? I'll take my crew now. Ethan turned, rallying. Brothers, Melissa's new husband booked Wanley Hotel for her birthday, let's go support. They cheered. Sure, let's go, cheer the bride and see a luxury hotel. The mob piled into cars, heading for Wanley. I panicked. Oh no, they'll mock me for ages now. Henry patted my head, chiding. What nonsense, little birthday star. Every word I said was true. Trembling, I followed Henry to Wanley. He opened the car door, gesturing courteously for me to step out. Ethan and his friends arrived first, eyeing me with interest. Sophia sighed and shook her head, seemingly disappointed. All awaited my humiliation, and I hesitated to exit, dreading what lay ahead. Henry gazed into my eyes, soothing. Don't fear, Melissa, I'm truly here to celebrate your birthday. Should I trust him? Once, Ethan promised me a grand 20th birthday gift, but at the event, he handed the flowers to Sophia, turning my party into his grand confession to her. Sophia, will you be my girlfriend? Charming Ethan, stunned Sophia, and cheering friends left me, dolled up yet sidelined like an ugly duckling. From then, my birthday became their anniversary. Friends mocked. You thought these flowers and balloons were for you? They're Ethan's gifts for Sophia. Your birthday was just a ruse to summon her, you're merely a stepping stone in their romance. Why did it turn out this way? At 15, Ethan caught a box of fireflies over a casual remark, wishing me a happy birthday under starry, glowing skies. He hoped I'd be the world's happiest girl, blessed with all that's enviable, and shyly gifted me a full set of white dresses for my 18th birthday. He claimed it was a casual buy, but he'd toiled 2 months at a hot pot restaurant, hands peeling from washing dishes, feet blistered from waiting tables, to afford it, saying I'd look like a princess. I wished he'd be my lifelong prince. When did it all change? Likely when he met Sophia in college. I don't resent her, I just mourn the bond Ethan and I shared since childhood. Reflecting thus, I released my burdens, finding fresh courage for a new life. I stepped out, linked arms with Henry, and smiled into his eyes. Then let me truly celebrate this 30th birthday. The car halted at the red carpet's end, and Henry and I stepped onto the hotel's prepared path together. Staff on both sides fired confetti cannons as we approached, ribbons and glitter raining down, shouting, "Happy birthday and happy wedding to Miss Melissa." I didn't look back at Ethan but could guess his face. Hall 1's doors opened, spotlights perfectly illuminating Henry and me. I saw not only friends but my parents among the guests. They beamed, blessing us. Melissa, Henry, happy wedding, and happy birthday to our darling Melissa. Amid our joy, Ethan's incredulous voice rang out behind. Uncle, Auntie, why are you here? My mother's smile vanished upon seeing Ethan, once hopeful for us. She'd witnessed our saga over the years. She snapped, "Oh, the C family boy, are you here for Melissa's birthday and wedding banquet too? Really, no gift after all these years as her friend? Coming empty-handed, aren't you ashamed?" Ethan stood dumbfounded, scanning around to find our mutual friends among the guests. The big screen bore Henry's and my names. His accompanying cronies and Sophia were equally stunned. Ethan whipped around, seizing my shoulders, his gaze shocked and anguished. "So you really got married?" I met his eyes blankly. "Ethan, unlike you, I never lie. Every word I said today is true. The dress my husband bought, the invitations we designed, the certificate is real, the hall booked long ago. As for that Facebook post about my wedding dress," I chuckled lightly, "it wasn't meant for you." Ethan's pupils quaked as if struck by thunder. Henry swatted his hand off my shoulder. irked. Speak if you must, don't touch my wife. Sophia tugged him. Ethan, let's go, but he shook her off, eyes bloodshot, barking, leave me alone. It was his first shout at Sophia, her eyes reddened, on the verge of tears. I kindly noted, your girlfriend's about to cry, but Ethan gripped my hand, brows furrowed, pleading, please, Melissa, tell me it's all fake, a show for me, right? To provoke me into being with you? Fine, I'll agree now. Pointing at the weeping Sophia, he declared, I'll break up with her now. She cried desperately, Ethan, are you mad? I'm not. Tears glistened in Ethan's eyes as he begged tenderly, Melissa, don't break my heart, don't jest like this, it's not fun or funny. Calmly, I withdrew my hand, who's hurt whom? I confessed to you countless times, mocked by you and your crew. Now you ask me not to hurt you, when you trampled my heart in the mud, when I begged you to stop, what did you say? Confusion flickered in Ethan's eyes, he seemed to forget. I smiled, you said nothing, just laughed endlessly. Recalling those times, his pupils shrank sharply. Ethan, I'm human, my heart flesh, I'm exhausted. I pulled $1 from my pocket, returning it, thanks for your gift, I'm married now, the $9 fee leaves one back for you. Ethan crumbled, knees buckling as he knelt, Melissa, don't do this, don't marry another, you can't. He wept like a lost child, pitifully. Sophia fled, unable to bear it, but Ethan made no move to follow. Still he clung to me. Henry, fed up, shoved him hard, stop the theatrics. It's my wife's big day, make trouble, and I'll call security. Ethan stumbled and fell but crawled toward me. Melissa, I was wrong, truly. I apologize, I beg forgiveness, don't marry. I looked down coldly. Ethan, haven't you bullied me enough? Now you disrupt my birthday banquet, what do I owe you that you'd retaliate so? He crawled, clutching my leg, you owe me nothing, it's me, I'm the wretch. I don't even like Sophia, I dated her to spite you, forgive me, Melissa. In college, you shone so brightly, I feared you'd abandon me, that I'd vanish from your world. So I did foolish things, bet after bet, to prove to others you loved me, unmatched by any. Ethan's red, tearful eyes sought my response, but I met them gravely, but I don't love you anymore. To prove it, I pushed him away, returned to Henry's side, linking arms tightly, need another reminder? I'm married, you've seen our love. Ethan, I once loved you dearly, but now you're less than a stranger. Henry patted my head, aware that beneath my cold strength, my arm trembled. Wife, why waste words? Have security remove him. Ethan rose slowly, the hall's music had ceased, all guests' eyes fixed on us three. Head bowed, he swayed as if his spirit had collapsed. As security approached, he roared like a caged beast, don't touch me. He lifted his gaze to me, eyes red, Melissa, I'm sorry, but I'll wait for your forgiveness. After that birthday fiasco, I expected Henry's anger, even divorce. Our deep tie to Ethan was obvious, yet, surprisingly, he treated me as kindly as ever. His parents, at the banquet, criticized Ethan, but he soothed them. I couldn't help asking, why are you so good to me? Henry flicked my forehead, silly, haven't you recognized me? He mimed round glasses by his eyes. I stared blankly, then, after much thought, gasped, oh, it's you. Henry nodded, pleased, yes, me. I couldn't help smiling, my fated match was him. As Ethan noted, in early college, my grades and charm made me a campus star. A bespectacled junior quietly trailed me then, but, fixated on Ethan, I never noticed others. After our shared laughter, Henry held my hand. Senior, is it too late to confess now? I pondered, it should be fine, I think. Post-marriage, Ethan's cronies, led by a battered Tony, bruised face, bandaged arm, apologized solemnly at my door. I guessed why. Henry said, you're free not to forgive them. Once a college standout, I'd lost myself in Ethan's endless jests and bets. Before leaving, they said Ethan and Sophia split uglily, she'd slashed his face with a knife. The old me would have fretted, perhaps visited him secretly, but now I just murmured, oh. Unresigned, Ethan sought me, but I barred and avoided him. Eventually, he vanished from my life. Years later, shopping with Henry and our daughter, I glimpsed a fast food waiter resembling him. As I peered closer, he lowered his cap, turning away. I understood suddenly, the cherished boy of my youth was long dead to time. Now, Ethan was just a man worn by society. My daughter babbled, "Mommy, what are you looking at? Want a burger?" I shook my head, "No, Mommy doesn't." "But you used to love them." Smiling, I touched her cheek. People change. What you love, overindulged, loses appeal. People once loved, if unworthy, fade too. She nodded, half understanding. Henry approached, holding our hands. "My big and little treasures done shopping? Time to head home?" She chirped, "Home, home." I turned to Henry, "Let's go home, husband."